Hi everyone, welcome to Module 3. This brief video gives you an overview of the material and highlights a few key concepts and talks you through the assignments. So here are some things that you need to know. First of all, you should all be in a group now, and you'll be part of this group for the rest of the class. You'll have some group level assignments this week, which involve working together to agree on some guidelines for your own work together this semester. Now, I know that feels weird and uncomfortable because you don't know each other yet, but trust me, it is better to make these guidelines now than to make them later, right? Because now you can get to know, you can set some shared expectations so everyone knows what's expected of you. Getting that clarity now is really important. So starting in the next module, you'll begin working on your group problem-solving project. Make sure you look at the assignments related to your group this week, this module, so that you can get started on your guidelines. Okay, so you have 2 assigned readings this week. The first one, chapter of our textbook. As usual, I've posted the PowerPoint slides from the textbook chapter to help you take notes and prepare for the quiz. So this chapter is about how a group's context influences the group's interaction. So one of the key ideas is the concept of the bona fide group's perspective, which emphasizes groups are always embedded in larger contexts, and the group boundaries are fluid and permeable. This means that even though we know what the boundaries of a group are, like we know who's in the group and who isn't, over time, the membership changes, and group members, of course, are also part of other groups. So when scholars study groups, we should take that context seriously. So this theory really came about in reaction to older types of group research, which were always using experimental designs. And they typically created these small groups of research participants to accomplish some sort of task and then studied how the group did on that task. So that research is all very helpful, but it's also kind of artificial, right? The groups in those research were tightly controlled and they were temporary. They weren't real, ongoing groups in the world. So the bona fide group perspective says if we want to understand real groups, we need to take the context seriously. So work groups, sports teams, relational groups, and lots of other types of groups can be analyzed through this perspective. But let's use a family as an example. You have a sense for who's part of your family and who isn't, right? For me, it's my husband and my kids, my parents, my in-laws, my sister, and so on. So the group boundary is pretty clear, but it is also permeable. When kids grow up and get romantic partners, these people can become part of the family. Sometimes there's people who aren't legally part of your family, but you all still consider them like family because they come to events and they're really important to you. Sometimes people even leave the family, either kind of drift away or maybe leave completely, right? So these boundaries are permeable. And of course, each family member is part of other groups, friends, work, school, sports, etc. And sometimes these other groups can influence how we communicate as a family. The chapter also talks about how groups are influenced by time, technology, and diversity. So these influences are really obvious in work groups, clubs, sports teams, and so on, but they're also there for families. So in my family, we get frustrated with each other if we have different expectations about time. We also use technology in a lot of ways, including texting, email, video chatting. We even have a family Snapchat group, right? And diversity matters, even in a family. There's always diversity in a family in terms of age and gender, right? But also when people have romantic partners or friends from different cultural groups, that can make a difference in the family. Many families are multicultural, right? We personally have a lot of friends from different parts of the world who spend time with us as a family, even holidays sometimes. And we hosted an international student for a while, and she sort of became part of our family. So in these cases, being mindful of diversity in our group is really important for our communication. So you'll be asked to work with these ideas in journal assignments for this module. So the other assigned reading is case number 1 from our casebook. It's called Communicating for Wellness. So you should read this case and be ready to talk about it in online discussion. We're going to be connecting events in the case to ideas from the textbook chapter. We're starting case discussions this week using a tool called VoiceThread. You should check the VoiceThread discussion and see the questions. Answer 2 of the questions and do that early in the week. And then come back later to respond to 2 of your classmates' answers. So please make sure you get on there early so you can see what's going on. Thanks for all the good work so far. As always, I'm available to answer questions and talk about the material, so let me know how things are going.